So here are the exercises that you were asked to do. And these ones here we're supposed to identify which postulate or theorem allowed us to create the equation. So I have the postulate and theorem, I have my equation, and then we solve for x. We're supposed to find x, not find the measure of the angle, but find x. So these are all, ooh, I didn't do number 6. So maybe I could do that right now. So these two guys, well, we know that alternating exterior angles are congruent, so this one would be 70 over here. And then we know that vertical angles are congruent. So, I'm sorry, this is corresponding, right? Corresponding angles congruent, sorry. So then we could set them equal to each other. So it's 5x plus 20 is equal to 70. 5x is equal to 50. X is equal to 10. And I'm done. So anyhow, so these are our answers. And then we're looking down here at the bottom. And so we're supposed to justify whether two lines are parallel, and a lot of students had problems with this one. So let me go ahead and do the first one, and hopefully that'll give you an idea of how to complete the second one. So we have angle BCG. It's BCG. It's this angle right there. And then we have FGC. So here's FGC. It's this angle right over here, right? So first you want to identify the transversal. And what is the transversal? It's the line that is a side of both of those angles, right? So is this line here a side of both of those angles? No, it is not. Right? What is the side of the angle? It's this here and this here, right? It's this here and that there. So this line over here is not a side of either of those angles, right? Let's look at this line here, KD. It's the side of this angle here, right? It's a side of the first angle, but it's not a side of this second angle right here, right? So there's only one line that's the side of both of the angles, and it's this one right there. Do you see how it's the side of the first angle? It's also a side of the second angle. So this here is our transversal. It's our T. So AJ is our T, is our transversal. Now you want to think, okay, well then that means these two lines that the transversal cuts through, namely KD and EG, those are the two lines that we're checking to see, are they perpendicular? Are they parallel, right? And how will we check if they're parallel? It's if we can satisfy any of these conditions over here, then we could say that the lines are parallel. Right? And so can we satisfy? So next we would want to label the angles. Like, what are they? Are they alternate interiors? Are they consecutive exteriors? Right? What is going on? So if we look at the two lines, we're saying, are they inside of those two lines or outside of the two lines? Well, they're inside of the two lines. So these two angles are interior angles. Now we want to look at the transversal. Are they on the same side of the transversal, or are they on opposite sides of the transversal? If they're on opposite sides of the transversal, they're alternate angles. If they're on the same side of the transversal, they are consecutive angles, right? So we can see that they're both on the same side of the transversal, so they are consecutive interior angles. Consecutive interior angles. And what condition up here allows us to say that the lines are parallel? It's if consecutive interior angles are supplementary. Add up to 180. So these two consecutive interior angles, they add up to 180. So because we know that, now we can say that the two lines that the transversal cuts through, namely KD and EG, those two lines are parallel, right? And we want to be sure we write our lines with a little line above the 2 points and little arrows on the ends of both of the lines, right? And so this is what we're doing. Those are the answers to the next set. We flip it over and we have more of the same kinds of problems. And so here you got to identify what the angle is. So first identify the transversal, then look at the two lines that the transversal cuts through so you can identify the angles. And then once you have that, you can tell whether the two lines the transversal cuts through are parallel or not. And so these are the more of the same type of problem. And then down here, we have more of the same type of problem that we had earlier, right? So we're going to be using the fact that L and M are parallel. And then, so if they're parallel, then we can say that all of these are true, right? So all of these conditions are true if they're parallel. And so we're given that they're parallel. So then all those conditions are true. And what's the one that we're going to use here? Well, these two angles are consecutive interior angles, and we just learned that they add up to 180. Right? So we can go ahead and add up those two angles, set it equal to 180, and solve for x. And so that's what we're going to be doing for all of these, and these are the answers for the next set. Okay. So, yeah, maybe I could just stop there and I could do the last, the proofs in